So here we are, our last match for today, the second semi-final between Yuri Novák, the 14th seed from the Czech Republic, and Romania's Pavel. Quite a hush now in this giant arena. Many of the people still not back from their refreshment. We may have a few interruptions as they do find their seats. It's always the way.
How many balls we have?
Checking on the number of balls, the umpire. There should be 6.
2, 3.
Of course, there is something else that Novak's playing for today. If he wins, he will become the alternate for the Tennis Masters Cup officially, taking the place of Mark Philippoussis, who currently stands in 9th.
We have only 3.
Well, the ball boys obviously didn't open 2 cans. They only opened 1. Well, we'll have to open another. We must have 6 balls. Now they're all there. It was Pavel who said he would receive, so Novák will start the match. Well, he will when everybody's settled in their seats, as I say. Take a little while to settle. Here we go.
Last 30.
What a nightmare start so far for Novák here. What an awful start. I don't know whether he's tense or whether the memory of last year is still with him.
Well, there's no doubt that if you have lost heavily to the opponent in the same event the year before, it's going to play on your mind a little bit. He did, interestingly, speak in his press conference yesterday about the fact that all the pressure would be on him today as he has a higher ranking, and Pavel's just coming back from injury, so has very low expectation levels, and everything's a bonus for the Romanian, so perhaps he is feeling the pressure.
And the thing you mentioned, I think, is even greater pressure still, the fact that he could be in Houston as the ultimate, only if he wins. What a dream start for the Romanian.
45. 40-15. Pavel, 40-30.
And the miss hit by Novák in the last rally of that long service game. Suggesting that he is still rather tense and hasn't got his timing yet.
Kansas 15 left.
That's better.
I think it is going to be important for Novák to sometimes change his tactics and come into the net, keep Pavel guessing, particularly when he's able to turn him around like he was on that occasion, force him to play a defensive shot off the backhand side.
30-15.
It's been a nightmare start for Novák. 6 unforced errors already, only in the third game.
Pavel, 40-15.
Oh, got away with it. And at last has won a game. The breakdown, though, Pavel 2-1.
I did immediately when you called me. Did you check if it's nice okay?
It's been a good start for the Romanian. It's amazing, really, when you have a closer look at exactly how much tennis he's been able to play this year. Lost in the first round in Chennai, in the first round in the Australian Open before playing and losing to France in the Davis Cup, and then lost first round Rotterdam, first round Scottsdale and first round Indian Wells before losing his first match in Miami. So hadn't won a match on the ATP Tour by the end of March, and then had to take the remainder of the year off because of wrist and back injuries before returning to Palermo, which was the end of September, which he lost first round again. So his first match of the year that he won was actually in the beginning of October in Metz, and he happened to make the semi-finals there, so finally getting a few matches under his belt before losing another couple of first round matches in Lyon and St. Petersburg before coming here. So amazing run, really. Confidence is so important to these players, and when you A, have an injury, and B, you can't string any matches together, it really does play havoc with the mentality of such finely tuned athletes. So for him to have been able to come back so strongly in the last month by making consecutive semi-finals appearances here in France, in Metz, and then here in Paris, is really absolutely remarkable.
Pavel then with this one break to his advantage, 2-1.
Excellent anticipation here from Pavel. The return of serve was a good one. Didn't really do enough with the half volley, just popped it up, but he held his position and then made his move and correctly anticipated the fact that Novák was going to try and attempt to pass down the line. More aggressively, did well turning defense into attack. Excellent length on that backhand from Novák. Dealing with the short ball on the forehand very effectively, going back behind his opponent, which is an excellent pattern of play to use.
Well, that's an important rally psychologically. Digging in is what Novak's doing here. There's Florin Segachenu, who is the coach of Pavel. That's Gabriel Trifu, who is a fellow Davis Cup player. He played for Romania, and France beat them 4-1 in February.
Frustration there for Novák. He knows such a cheap way to give up his advantage. Just struggling to get to grips with the rhythm on his serve, Pavel. He's only serving at 25% of first serves in at the moment. They are effective. He's yet to lose a point when it does find its mark, but he's not winning many points on the second serve, so Novák taking full advantage.
Just on the line. Well done. What a stretch.
Well, he does move well around the net. He has excellent anticipation, keeping his eye on the ball even though he's under extreme pressure, and then trying to make contact out in front of his body if possible so that the ball didn't go wide, only just making it.
Good serve, right at the body. So difficult to do anything with.
Pavel leads by 3 games to 1.
Well, a tense service game, but he survived. Well played, 3-1.
And 15 left.
Nice shot making here. Novak trying to come into the net, but not doing enough with the approach, and therefore got in trouble by having to play a defensive volley cross court, which then gave the angle to Pavel.
Pained look. No, he's used that drop shot and drop volley so well this week.
It's a nice change of tactics. Novak, he realizes if he stands at the back of the court, he's not hitting the ball well enough at the moment to be able to put any pressure on Pavel, so he's decided to change tactics slightly and come in a little bit more. Very effective on that occasion.
Yes, it's worked again.
And very intelligently too, dropping this ball short so that Pavel had to move up the court and also hit the ball high over the net when Novak was waiting ready to pounce.
Just over-pressing and allowing Novak to hold serve. Keeping in touch, but he's still a breakdown. Pavel, 3-2.
I had the impression that the card was not deeply inserted. That probably was the reason.
Well, I think it's important that Novak tries to take advantage of Pavel serving so poorly at the beginning of this match, although he already finds himself a breakdown. Romanian only serving at 36% of first serve, so that's only going to get better, you would think, throughout the encounter. So Novak has to take advantage of that. And I think maybe just nerves early on in the match have forced him to hit the ball a little bit worse than he would have liked, particularly from the back of the court. Movement's always the first thing to go when you are a little bit tight. It's always difficult to move around on your toes and move across the court lightly. And then the other thing that goes often is the first serve. Just the ball toss sometimes is a little bit difficult to get out of your hand. So things to keep an eye on as the match progresses, but hopefully Novak will have settled down now and can play some of his best tennis.
Early days, but Pavel with the advantage, trying to do what he did last year, beat Novak. Choosing the newer balls for the serve. 2 more games with this set, and then we'll change. 3-2. Well, you were saying that he had a protected ranking of 44. How does that work, Jason?
Well, you have to be off the tour injured for at least 6 months for it to apply, and then once you are off for that amount of time, then they do take an average of the first 3 months of your ranking when you were injured. In the case of Pavel, that turned out to be 44, so that was his protected ranking, and he gets that for 8 events or 9 months, whichever is the shorter period of the two. It's interesting that protected ranking only just managed to get him into the main draw here in Paris. He was the last direct acceptance at 44 in the world. So that just shows you how tough these Masters Series events are.
Well, this, of course, a 48 draw, 16 buys. And Pavel still in command at the net. And he's serving well too again. That lowly service percentage, the first serve percentage, has gone up to 44. Still a bit low for comfort, but he's won every point when that first serve has gone in. 2-4. Looks to me as if the prize of that alternate place in Houston has affected Novák today. He's a bit tight. And Pavel playing on the tightness in the racket arm of Novák.
It's been a shaky start, really, when you look at the winners and unforced errors, particularly for Novák. Deficit of 6, whereas Pavel has 3 in the plus column. It's a little bit easier, particularly for Novák, when he gets the first serve in, then he's able to dominate the rally. He needs to improve his percentage, currently at 61%.
And he's only winning just over half of them that do go in, which is a little discouraging. And still he can't relax and play his normal game. The pressure of the moment.
A little bit cheap, giving up the unforced error on the return of serve on his strongest side. He knows how important it is to get the security of a double break.
Well, you talked about that backhand. It is very like Kirtan's, isn't it?
It's beautiful, and when he uses it like that, he can really catch Novák out, because Novák isn't the best mover in the world. So when he goes down the line, it's tough to cover. So it's a shot that we might see Pavel using as much as possible in the match.
Well, another error. Well, he's making the most of this. Novák very tight at the moment, unable to play to the standard he's shown earlier this week, and 5-2 Pavel.
Well, it's a dream start really for Pavel, and I think he's drawing on the inspiration he obviously found last year when he beat Novák so comfortably. He's only serving at 44% of first serves in, so that needs a little bit of work, but look how effective they are. 8 times the ball's gone in and 8 times he's won a point. Second serves, as you would expect, anywhere around the 50% mark is usual for this caliber of player. It's something that he'll need to work on, and it's something that Novák should have taken more advantage of. He is serving at 64% of first serves in, but look how ineffective they are. He's only winning the same percentage of points when the first serve goes in as he is when he's down to his second serve. So Pavel taking advantage and returning well off the Czech Republic's Davis Cup star's first serve, but really needs to work on improving the effectiveness of his first serve and the way he's able to take advantage of Pavel's serve, particularly the second.
And a rather forlorn figure at the moment, Novák. He knows that he's not doing himself justice, and no player minds being beaten if they play well and the opponent plays better. That happens inevitably throughout the season, but when you are playing so poorly as he is just now, that hurts. So we're having the first change of balls here. 5-2.
So, last 15.
He doesn't really want to make a habit of missing easy volleys like this, just taking his eye off the ball. Didn't quite contact the ball out in front as he would have liked.
Fault.
Umpire Grillotti making the call, not the linesperson.
Kansas on serve. 15-30.
Lovely touch.
The anticipation was good too. As soon as he played his little approach shot and saw that Novák went to one hand on the backhand, he knew that he was going to try and chip it cross court, so he moved through the ball so nicely so that he could get right on top of the net to play the shot, so that it was a lot better chance of making it.
40-30.
And he's got himself on the ace board now, and that one has produced a set point. And that's a lovely first set in just 27 minutes for the Romanian, who at the moment is benefiting from insecurity in the mind of Novák.
Who said Pavel 6-2?
Well, I don't think Pavel will be as pleased with the performance as he will with the result, but it doesn't matter. You only have to play as well as you need to do in any given situation, and that's what Pavel's been able to do. Let's have a look at the first set summary. As you can see, his first serve percentage isn't high enough as yet, only 46% of first serves in, but they have been very effective, winning 91% of points when the first serve finds his mark. 10 winners and 7 unforced errors, so he's been quite tidy from the back of the court, but the key statistic is that he's won 2 of his 3 breakpoint opportunities. Novák served a pretty healthy 64% of first serves in, but they haven't been anywhere near as effective as his opponent, only winning 50% of points when his first serve finds its mark. 5 winners and 13 unforced errors, so he's got to keep that a little bit tidier in the second set, cut out his unforced errors, and he must start to make inroads on the Pavel serve. No break points in that opening set.
And here are some of Pavel's winners from the first set. So set point for Pavel. Lovely serve, completes it.
15 left.
Novák opening the second set with his first ace.
Front 0, 30 left. Carol 0, 14.
Well, this is an altogether better start. Just what he needed. A really easy service game. And only dropping the second set of the week. The first was against Santoro. In his first match, he had a bye and then played Santoro in the second round. 6-love in a final set that day. Wonder if he can do the same to Pavel. Not on present evidence, one has to say. Love one.
Kansas, 15 left. Kansas, 15 on.
That slice serve on this surface, as everyone knows, so effective. Slides away low.
Well, the one thing that Pavel has done well today is getting quick after the serve when he attempts to serve and volley. So he makes contact with the ball right on top of the net, which makes executing it a heck of a lot easier.
85% success rate. And poor Novák can't find the court when he needs to. Well, he has fond memories of Paris, does Pavel, because last year, during the French Open, his wife was in labour and he rushed home when he was playing Corretja overnight. They were suspended. He went back in time to see the delivery of his son, Marius, and returned the next day to continue his match.
15 left.
Well, even the luck's going with him.
Well, it's very unusual. We've often seen this week when somebody clips the top of the net, it bounces up very high and sometimes very deep, but on that occasion, not so. Falling the right way for Pavel. Well, there are signs that Novák is relaxing a little bit now. These shots are very difficult to play when you're nervous, but the angle of the racket face was perfect, just deadening the ball so that it just dropped over the net.
Strangely listless performance from Novák today. Can't be tired. Hasn't played many sets. Well played.
I like this tactic against Novák because he does tend to get a little bit flat-footed on the baseline, but what you have to do, having played that shot, is follow the line of the ball. You must cover down the line once you've attempted to drop shot your opponent down the line rather than cover the middle of the court.
And the heavy serve of Novák coming in at exactly the right moment. Inching his way into this match painfully. He's 2-1. Well, that little chap enjoying himself here. And a lot of youngsters here there have been this week. And that's good to see. The French, of course, are very keen competitors and participants in this sport. Their league system is very sophisticated and lots of competitions go on all the time. And they start young. And this is the way to learn, watching the good players when you're about that age. And the status of tennis in France, second only to football. So a very keen tennis playing country and a very successful one. A lot of Frenchmen in the upper reaches of the rankings, and the people now seeing themselves on the screen. There's a lot of fans about there looking up and seeing themselves on the screen. That little girl oblivious. But they're fully aware of what's happening. All great fun. No breaks yet, this second set. 1-2.
Well, if you continue to serve and volley behind an 187 km/h serve, eventually your opponent will start to get a little bit of rhythm on the return and put you under more pressure at the net.
Kansas. 15 all.
That's why it's important to keep varying the tactics when you don't possess one of the biggest serves in the world, and Pavel doing that very successfully on that last point.
Just clipped the edge of Novak's racket. You can't call that a miss. 198 kph.
Quarantine. 40-15.
That's the third double fault. Well, a little bit of carelessness by Pavel there has given Novak the faintest chance, and he badly needs a break here to restore a bit of his morale. He's looked very glum. And Pavel has given it to him. 2 errors. That might be something to do. Might be something to do, Jason, with the shortage of match play, and a match that he really desperately keen to win.
Definitely getting a little bit tight now, and Novak not having to do anything special to manufacture the break. Backhand down the line is really a trademark for Pavel. Not deep enough, the approach shot, so therefore the Romanian was able to prepare nice and early, make good contact with the ball.
Last 30. Kansas on 15-30.
Well, what a moment for Florin Segacheno, the coach of Pavel, to see his man playing so well. And yet a little bit anxious, I'm sure, his coach, that the slight tightening, and it's only very little difference from before, but it makes all the difference in the result. And there's another that might have been returned.
Just lost his level of concentration and intensity now. Pavel dropped a good 10 or 15%, and it makes all the difference at this level.
Well, that's a wonderful signal for Novák. His opponent falling apart a little at the moment. And 4-1 now for Novák.
Well, Novak's tied his game up a little bit in this second set, but he's still in total made a few too many unforced errors. 16 in the match now, 10 off the backhand, which is usually such a solid shot of his from the back of the court, particularly when he tries to change direction and go down the line. 4 off the forehand, has yet to make one at the net, but hasn't really come in that much. Only come in 4 times in this second set, won 50% of those points. But he's been a lot tidier in this second set and has hit 9 winners in total, so a deficit of 7. When we look at Andrei Pavel's unforced error profile, he's got 6 off the forehand and 5 off the backhand, so pretty even from the back of the court, but he is struggling a little bit in this second set. 3 double faults for a total of 15, which is a little bit too many, particularly in the latter stages of this match, but he has with 17 winners, so has a +2 total of that ratio.
Well, he's got to get back in mental gear, really. Slipped out of gear. He was in neutral this last couple of games. Lost his own serve last time and failed to convert a love 30 situation on Novak's serve. Well, now 1-4.
Kansas. 15.
Well, one can only commiserate with Novák, who just is not doing himself justice today. He really isn't. He may be 4-1 ahead in this set, but... Did he think that was a let? Certainly wasn't. Yes, I think he did, but it wasn't. We would have heard the bleep.
Well, I think he just lost the sight of the ball there as he was coming in to serve volley. Reacted very late indeed to preparing for the backhand volley. I think you'll see here moving in, and then didn't really see it until the very last second, so the technique was all over the place.
Well, it didn't seem to make any difference in the end. Keeping the deficit to just 1 break of serve, and who knows, he might recover that.
0-15. Love 15. Left. First.
That's great hitting from both players, keeping good length early on in the rally, neither of them wanting to change direction on the ball, and then Pavel just accepting the invitation and able to execute perfectly.
Just let him off the
15,
hook there.
30.
When he had him love 30 in the previous service game, one felt that Pavel somehow was going to recover the break, but didn't happen.
Front 30.
Well, thanks to the net, at least now he does have a chance to break back.
A little bit cumbersome here, Novák, going moving forward to try and pick up that net cord. Not the swiftest of movers. So a little bit of luck for Pavel. Now he's got to make the most of it.
Now that's brilliant opportunism. And Pavel has got his break back at last. Still trailing, but no longer by a break. Novák forced.
Let's by 4 games to 3.
Well, that was an excellent game as far as Pavel's concerned. Got an early lead, and that always helps when you're trying to break serve, and then he was able to show how talented he is when he's the aggressor in the rally and he's able to play all court tennis. Of course, the backhand is his favorite shot, and when he goes down the line, it's so very difficult for Novák to cover that shot because he doesn't move particularly well and doesn't have much time to get into the right position. And then once Pavel is in a position to be able to dominate the rally, more often than not, he's going to try and come into the net whenever he can. Here he just ghosted in when he saw that Novák was under pressure, and it was the low volley that he did so very well to control, and then he just hugged the line, following the line of the ball, and he was able to execute the last backhand volley to get the winning shot and the break back. So a great game all round, and that should give him a big boost in confidence now. He's right back in this second set.
Well, he is so grateful that he is actually playing tennis again after a 6-month layoff from Miami in March, where he had to retire. He was playing Todd Martin, to Palermo in September, all that time off the court. The lower back was the problem for his retirement against Martin, but then just as he was getting going again, he injured his wrist. Tendinitis, we think it was, and he had a long wait for that to recover. And that explains his enthusiasm for competition again now.
Also shows you how fragile life can be on the tennis circuit. Really got to make the most of the time that you spend on it healthy.
Cancel. 15 all.
So the slice serve out wide to the opponent's forehand in the deuce side has got to be good, and Pavel will be delighted with his effort there, but Novák was equal to it. Good anticipation, and he loves to go down the line.
Hunter, 30.
Left first.
Pavel can be effective off both forehand and backhand when he gets time to set up, and the net cord here allowed him that luxury, and then there was no mistake with the forehand. Good upper body rotation, and he was moving forward just in case he needed to play a volley.
Finding it difficult to keep his cool and level. Such a big game this is. Just tightening up at the wrong moment, Pavel. Yeah, that's got him. Well played, Novák. Good return of serve, did the damage.
That was the key there, John. To get the ball lower than the height of the net, force Pavel to volley up. Didn't get enough depth. When you go down the middle, that's the key. And it allowed Novák an opportunity to pick his spot on the forehand.
Well, he's done well, Novák. Converting the only chances. Here's another. Well saved. Gabriel Trifu there, his Davis Cup colleague from Romania. Pretty pleased with the speed with which he got to the net, made the volley easy. Well, I can only assume that the enormity of a chance to be the ultimate in Houston and all the money that's associated with that has got to Novak today. It's such a pity. He hasn't done himself justice so far at all. Another error. Just an hour we've been playing. And Pavel has now got himself within sight of victory. 4-all, and Novak still spluttering. Perhaps the new balls will help.
Love 15.
Well, it's more like it as far as Novak's concerned. He must try and dominate as many rallies as possible. He doesn't play well when he has to defend in rallies, so therefore he must take every opportunity to put Pavel under as much pressure as possible.
Now look at this. Just a meagre 5 winners in each set. And look at Pavel. More than twice as many, 3 times this set. There's a 6th.
30-15.
Much better. Took it early.
And it's a shot that Novak likes to use. Very rarely has he been up the court enough today to be able to take full advantage of that. Well inside the baseline when he executed that shot, so therefore it was a little bit easier.
And certainly this man's scurrying tack, the harrying tactics are paying dividends. But Novak just holding on to his serve when he most needed to. Nosing ahead, 5-4.
It's by 5 games to 4. Could you replace this ball that is a little bit... It's not round, one new ball. is
Well, it seems to me this is a completely different person from the one we watched, beating Juan Carlos Ferrero.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? When the pressure is on the other foot, it's very, very difficult, because against Ferrero had nothing to lose. He was the top seed here, was the world #1 at the time, and he was able to come out, open his shoulders, play his game without any pressure at all, and did it very well. And today he's come out with a lot more riding on the match, a chance obviously to make the final of another Tennis Masters Series event, as well as becoming the alternate for the Tennis Masters Cup in Houston, somewhere that he excelled last year in Shanghai. So he would very much want and like to be a part of that again. And because Nalbandian's injured, Moya's got a shoulder injury, Corrier's got a fever, there would be a possibility of him taking part in the event. So I think that's just all been a bit too much for him today, and he's a little bit fortunate still to be in the match, given how badly he's played to this point.
Well, now he's sitting there thinking, I can't go on playing as poorly as this. I've got to take the attack to Pavel. He's letting Pavel harry him all the time. And it's time for Novak to take action and break here. Well, at least he's recovered from 1-4 to 4-5.
Love 15. Funny old game, this, isn't it? Just when you thought that he'd done enough by breaking back from 1-4, he plays a couple of poor points, a couple of errors, 20 unforced now, equaling Novak's, and love 30. Can't believe it that he's let a chance like this slip. Come along. 15-30. This is the moment when Novak must strike. Well, well, well. That says it all, doesn't it?
It's more like a first-round match, this, where the players haven't got used to the speed of the court or find their timing yet. Very strange for a semi-final.
Time for count. 30-40.
But at least Novak has earned himself the chance to level. It was a fine return of serve, forced the error. And this might be the breakthrough Novak needs. It's set point. Playfully pretending to throw away Novak's racket.
Well, sensational point from both players' points of view. Pavel not doing enough with the smashes. Didn't get enough angle on either of those, but Novák, excellent anticipation, but unable to do enough when he made the little drop volley. Nice to see it's being played in a good spirit, even though there's so much at stake for both players.
Deuce. Yes, perfect length return. An appeal by Pavel for a possible overrule, but not coming. It was good, nods, Velotti. Again, for Yuri Novák, set point. Oh, this time he's done it. And that surely would have flown long had he left it, Pavel. But he didn't. He made the error. And we are level at 1-all after an hour and 10 minutes.
Nerves getting the better of both players, but particularly Pavel in that last game. Didn't do enough with the first volley, and then surely should have left the backhand that would have sailed long of the baseline. But it's a set all, and let's have a look at that summary. 57% of first serves for Novák. Well, that needs to be improved. If he can get it up to the 60s, he'll be a little happier with things. But he did manage to cut out his unforced errors in that set, so he was pretty solid from the back of the court. 7 winners and 8 unforced errors. 4 break points he managed to manufacture, and key was he took advantage of 2 of those. Pavel's point of view, didn't serve well enough. Needs to keep that percentage a little bit higher. Too many unforced errors, 13 in fact. He did hit a few more winners, 15 in total, but the unforced errors coming at key moments in the set. He was only able to muster 1 break point, which he did take advantage of, but didn't really return serve well enough throughout the set. So we're evenly matched going into a decider.
Here are some of the Novák winners from that second set. There it was, and Yuri Novák sitting there, watching himself excel in that second set at those moments which most mattered as he sat there. The giant screen was playing it all for him again. So all to play for, and that elusive alternate spot, which might be a real chance of playing with so many injuries in Houston, beckons.
15 left.
Well, a rather better start here. You remember he lost his serve to Love in the opening game of the match. And this time, holding serve to 15.
First game, final set.
Well, I think he's got to console himself, Jason, with the fact that he has played really rather poorly by his standards of the previous matches he's played this week, and things can only get better.
And of course, the sign of a truly great player is the ability to be able to win when you're not playing well. So that's important. Earlier in the week, when he played fantastic and had no pressure on him, he was able to beat the best player in the world, Juan Carlos Ferrero, in straight sets. So it's an incredible win. But today, when the pressure's all on him, he's got to try and win this match when he's not playing particularly well. So he's doing well so far in that respect, and he does have the advantage of serving first. So now the pressure is starting to show a little bit on Pavel and will increase, as does the set.
And 15 minutes. Hands up. 15-0.
Didn't move his feet.
Hands on.
And the return was a good one, nice and deep. What a difference it makes. Well, the unforced errors, but already we've hardly started this third set, and Pavel's made 5. Well, you know what he's thinking, don't you? Exactly. He went to all the trouble of coming back from 1-4 down in that second set, and it was a jolly good fight back too. And then rather blew it, I'm afraid, against a man who he knows isn't playing his best. Well, there's the concern on the face of the Pavel supporters, Florin Segachenu and Gabriel Trifou.
Well, this was a great point as far as Pavel's concerned. Took advantage of the short ball, but this was the key. As soon as he saw that Novák chipped it, he moved forwards to make contact with the ball as close to the net as possible, which made the shot all the easier to execute.
Well, you have to admire the fight back. But really, Novak's making it easier for him than he should be. No question about skill there.
Well, absolute delight in the Romanian camp there. Exquisite touch, shades of Tim Henman in the opening semi-final here this afternoon.
Which, in case you missed it, resulted in a win for Henman over Andy Roddick in 2 tie-break sets. From his point of view, there have been too few of those today. He has a good serve. It's only his second ace.
Well, this is a pattern of play that Novák will want to try and use as much as possible, to rally cross court and then change direction when he feels he has the opportunity to do so, particularly on the backhand side.
He's reading him like a book.
Anticipation is so important when you're trying to come to the net. The approach shot wasn't that great, but he read the fact that Novák was going to try and pass him cross court, and the contact with the ball was out in front. His wrist was nice and firm.
And sheer determination is forcing him ahead here. He's like a terrier at the heels of Novák, snapping away all the time. There are the break points. Three quarters of the ones he's had, he's converted. Well, how quickly things change. Just now, Novák led by a set and 15-40 on Pavel's serve. It looked as if the Czech was going to romp through, but no, now a breakdown.
It's going to be interesting to see whether Pavel can maintain this advantage, because we definitely saw him tighten up towards the end of the second set, but we've also seen Novák start the match very nervously indeed today. So I think there's still a lot of tennis to be played in this match so far, but Pavel with a distinct advantage. But sometimes the break of serve can come a little bit too early in a set, and the pressure does tend to mount the longer that you have that advantage, because you know you should be making the most of it. And if Novák can take advantage, particularly of any second serve opportunities he gets, he's currently winning 60% of points when he gets a look at Pavel's second serve, then it could be very interesting indeed. So of course first serve percentage is important for the Romanian, and I'm sure the camp will understand and know that, and they'll be hoping that he'll be able to keep his first serve percentage a lot higher than it is now, currently standing at 38%.
Well, Messrs. Segacheno and Trifu at the sort of nail-biting stage here, with Pavel fighting to create this break lead that he's got here at 2-1. Well, the applause starts as Pavel prepares to consolidate if he can. He's 2-1. That's a help.
15.
Fourth ace.
set. 15-all.
Well, 126 kilometers an hour was the speed of the return. He was using the pace of the oncoming delivery and just redirecting the ball. Well, fantastic backhand Pavel has, particularly when he's confident. Moving up inside the baseline, that's the key, to take the ball early on the rise, so he doesn't have to generate too much pace of his own. He can just redirect the ball.
And that is rather typical of Novák, but there haven't been many occasions today when he's hit clean winners on return. But here he is with a break point.
He's been very competent overhead today, Pavel. Didn't really time that volley. Should have put it away at the first time of asking, but no mistake on the smash. Well, the tactic is a good one to try and take Novák out of court because he doesn't move particularly well, so a simple shot into the space usually is enough to win the point. No need for a volley on that occasion.
Indeed. That fourth double fault has given Novák a little bit of hope. And the difference here is that Pavel is playing this match from inside the baseline. Novak's playing it from behind the baseline. And if you can take the ball early and get the angles, well, there's only one end to the point. Why would he try that?
It's called pressure and wanting to end the point as quickly as possible, not having the confidence and getting involved in a protracted baseline rally.
The match is being won and lost right here. The struggle for supremacy.
starting to flow off the backhand of Pavel now. Again, the length not good enough. And taking full advantage of another short ball by moving up the court, taking the ball on the rise, so it's giving Novak very little time to recover. Very intelligent tennis from Pavel.
And his 5th winner on that wing. Oh, what a reach!
Well, he was very late reacting to this, perhaps thinking that the volley was going to go out. Did exceptionally well to move across and cover the distance and then control the ball.
Well, one feels that that was a key moment.
Well, this time it was Pavel's turn to pay the price for not keeping the ball deep enough and trying to recover down the line. It only opens up the court for your opponent, and that was why Novak was able to take full advantage of that.
Grim face now, Novak.
Karol 14-16.
Well, he did what he has to do, keep the deficit to 1 break and then surge if he can from here, but I have a feeling that Pavel's determination might prevail. We'll see. 3-2.
Well, we always talk about the ratio between winners and unforced errors. We've taken a close look at the unforced errors. Let's keep an eye on how the players have been winning the majority of their points. 18 winners in total for Novak, 7 coming off the forehand, just 3 off the backhand, which is perhaps a surprise because he does like to use that shot to try and dominate the rally, particularly down the line, and just 4 at the net and 4 service winners. So a pretty solid performance all round, as you might expect. Let's also then have a look at Pavel's winners, and I think we'll see that there's been a few more of those. 37 in total, 11 off the serve, so he has been serving pretty well. Needs the first serve percentage to be a little bit higher, but they have obviously been effective. 15 at the net, so he's been playing an all-court game as we thought, and pretty solid from the back of the court too. 6 off the forehand and only 5 off the backhand, so perhaps that's a little bit of a surprise because the backhand is one of his very best shots.
Couple of excited youngsters seeing themselves on the big screen. That's me up there. Great fun.
Tight.
And not much fun, though, for Yuri Novak at the moment, I'm afraid. He hasn't played anything like his best tennis, and yet he is still just in touch. A breakdown, it's true. But it remains to be seen whether Novak can take advantage of the shortness of match play suffered by Pavel.
15.
Just will not go for him today. Yes, half a yard slow to that ball. Novák, rather typical of what has happened today, really.
14.
Well, having a lot of success at the net, both players, but Pavel coming in a lot more than his opponent. Not having any success on this attempt to put the ball away with the forehand cross court. It's very dangerous, because if you do that, it does open up the court for your opponent.
Well, there's been a greater urgency all day from this man. And his reward is this 4-2 lead in the final set. Of course, it is like a restart to his season. He's just been playing a few weeks since the end of September, and he's like a sort of spring chicken.
It's going to be very strange for Pavel for the season to have ended next week, when just really getting started. Fantastic control of the slice backhand to be able to get the height over the net and the angle.
Probably the longest rally we've seen tonight.
Game set. 15-0.
It's got to be tiring for somebody that isn't really at the peak of match fitness, Pavel. So one of the advantages of getting a little bit weary is the fact that you want to try and get a quick end to the point, and that's exactly what Pavel was able to do there. Again, off the backhand side and well inside the baseline.
And this a virtual match point, a point for a double break. Come on, shrieks Pavel to himself. Foreign Segachenu almost managing a smile. It's break point again. And a good call. Well, all you can do when the game isn't really quite working the way it should is to try hard on every point and hope. And I hope that your opponent's going to make simple errors like that and keep you at least in the picture. Just one break divides them still. It's Pavel. Fourth. New ball, please.
Well, the pressure is certainly increasing, and that was a key game, obviously, for both players, but particularly Novák had to try and keep within touching distance of his opponent. There's no doubt that this is a huge match for Pavel, and if he does have the opportunity to serve for the match, he's going to be very, very nervous. So it's important that Novák hangs in there, and hopefully then, from his point of view, he will be able to take advantage of any opportunities that come his way. It is difficult when you're not playing your best, because obviously you've always got something on your mind that is frustrating you. If only I was playing better, I'd have an excellent chance of winning this match, but it's just not the case today.
And some of the great champions who have won here. 98, it was Ruzetsky over Sampras, probably his best career win. Sampras won a couple of times, Agassi too. And Pavel and Novák, one of them will have a chance tomorrow to get their name on that board as well. Change of balls with a break. Pavel 4-3.
I think Novak's going to try and take advantage of anything short, nothing to lose. And this time he's on the baseline as opposed to 3 feet behind it, so the shot's a lot easier to execute.
What a late call that was for a double fault. Well, let's have a look. Certainly was long, according to TMI. It's a fifth error in that category. Well, you said he might get a bit nervous towards the end, and that's what's happened here. The double fault first, now the missed volley. And Novák, only 2 of 7 so far. Here is a third. Or an 8th chance, one should say, to make it his third. He's made it. What relief. So we have a completely new match here right now. Novak's played badly, but he's somehow still in the hunt at 4-all in the third, remembering that he lost this one last year against the same man, 6-1, 6-3.
Well, a very instinctive shot to end the rally here from Pavel. Excellent length on the approach, but didn't really follow the line of the ball. And he should know by now that Pavel does prefer to pass up the line if possible, so therefore should have been moving a little bit to his right after the approach.
Fine margins deciding matters again. Just long.
Kansas on 15-13.
Well, that is rather sad for Novak, really, that he should shank the ball like that. Double break point.
France 30-14.
Novak persisting in going for that baseline, and for the second time in this game, just missing. And so, for Pavel, once more, a break, 5-4.
Mr. Pavel would like to have some salt, magnesium or something like that from the trainer.
Well, Pavel just asking for some salt from the trainer, so obviously he's starting to feel a little bit jaded.
Magnesium or something like that.
Cramp coming on, do you think?
I would have thought so with that request, but he has only been drinking water throughout the encounter, so body obviously feeling the effects of a full week's tennis, and he hasn't really had that throughout the year. So it's amazing, really, that he's still able to hold himself together, but he's very, very tight. Of course, the more nervous you are in a match, the more energy you burn up, and the tougher it is there to feel at your very best towards the end of the encounter. So he's done exceptionally well, but he's going to be tight as a drum in this next game. So if Novak can get an early advantage, there still might be a little bit of tennis left in this match.
Where is he? I told her he's coming.
He's asking Romano Grillotti, where's the trainer, who he's
He's
asked...
not in time, we have to play and you get later. I call him, but...
Asked to be called,
Time.
but he hasn't arrived. Time it is, they'll have to play on.
Good incentive for Pavel to finish as quickly as possible. I'd only need 4 points.
He's called for the trainer and for salt, and we think he may be just feeling the beginnings of cramp. Although taking salt now is too late. But there you are, serving for the match. Novák waiting for the call that never came. An ace from Pavel. Number 5.
Cancer. 15 all.
Excellent tennis from Pavel because he's staying aggressive even though he's a little bit nervous, and that's exactly what he has to do.
30-15.
Oh, so nearly. But well played, Novák, keeping the pressure on.
Exactly what he needed to do. He had to keep the pressure on Pavel, making him move as much as possible, breathing very heavily now. And his arm must surely be very tight.
And the crowd's enthusiasm allowing him just a few moments longer than he might have had. That's too good.
Yeah, there was nothing at all on the second serve, and even less on the ground strokes, struggling even to make the service line. Novák had all the time in the world to be able to pick his shots, and managed to get enough topspin on the last one for it to dip inside the baseline.
The point then for 5-all. Brilliant.
Well, you described it perfectly, John. Fantastic approach shot, and then the first volley was key. He's got an excellent overhead, hasn't missed on that all day. But what a point to play under that kind of pressure.
2 elusive points from victory. Well, what a moment for Pavel, playing in only his 5th tournament back after awful injuries that kept him off the court for 6 months. Here with a point to take himself into a second final of a Masters Series event, and the first in Paris. He's done it! Well, it's a fairy tale come true. so short of match play that it seemed impossible that he could do well this week, and not even expecting to play here. Summoned from his home last Saturday, beating Novák 6-2, 4-6, 6-4 in an hour and 55 minutes.
Well, disappointment for Novák. He was playing for a place as the alternate in the Tennis Masters Cup in Houston. He needed to win today, wasn't able to produce anywhere near his best tennis. Neither did Andrei Pavel. You can see how nervous he is.
He can't even sign anymore.
His hands shaking. It's only the 8th match he's won all year. Absolutely incredible to find himself in the final of the last Masters Series event of the year.
Well, fairy tales do happen.
Let's take a look at the match summary and see what we can learn. Pavel serving at 56% of first serves. I think he's going to have to improve that statistic if he's going to beat Tim Henman tomorrow in the final. But the winners and the unforced errors ratio is pretty good. 43 compared to 33. Many of those coming at the net. So we're going to have an exciting final with both players trying to play some all-court tennis. Novák did not play well enough. Served okay, but too many unforced errors, 31, and wasn't able to take advantage of the Pavel serve.
Well, really, it seems hardly credible that Andrei Pavel is here in the final in Paris, but he is. We'll all have to pinch ourselves tomorrow. Let's meanwhile just enjoy some of the highlights. So, absolute ecstasy on the face of Andrei Pavel. He's trying now to let it all sink in. It'll probably take him 24 hours to realize what he's done. But what he's done is to take himself to the final here in Paris for a match tomorrow against Tim Henman. Well, what excitement we've had. Just a reminder, if you weren't with us earlier, what happened in the first match. Tim Henman has beaten the new world #1 Andy Roddick in straight sets, revenge that for a defeat at the Americans' hands in the first round of the US Open. Andrei Pavel has just beaten Yuri Novák. So make a date tomorrow as Andrei Pavel leaves the court, and acknowledging the crowd's support. Make a date tomorrow with us here